Okay, there you go. So as I was saying, copy those that are written in blue. Um, yes, because you will need them when we do the Schoology later on. And I'm gonna discuss the other ones too. Yeah, I'm just starting with those that we have seen previously. Uh-huh. So you can kind of activate your prior knowledge about the topic. Uh-huh. So reflect is when you multiply by negative, either inside the radical or outside the radical. Yep. Translation up if you add, translation down if you subtract outside the radical sign. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Vertical stretch if you multiply by a number before the radical, and then vertical shrink if you multiply by a fraction. Uh-huh. Yeah, between 0 and 1 before the radical symbol. Okay, now the only new things that we will see here, because our graph is opening sideways, yep, so we've never seen them before, are the following. The horizontal translation and the horizontal stretch or shrink. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen some horizontals before, but not the stretch or shrink. This is our first time to do this horizontal stretch or shrink. Okay, so if you remember, the horizontal translation does it in opposite direction. So let's say, for example, if you have, um, yes, square root of x minus h. Yep, remember when we did parabolas, it had vertices at h and k. So you know that this is going to the right. So for horizontals, it's always on the opposite direction. The effect is always opposite. If you have square root of x plus h, so take note of the difference. The h is inside the radical sign, while the k here is outside the radical. Yeah? So now we go to the opposite direction, so it's going to the left. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the other horizontal effect is, when you're multiplying, but this time you're multiplying inside. So if you have square root of ax, so it's like the a over there, but this is outside, this is inside. So if it's inside, you do the opposite effect again. So you don't vertical stretch it. It means you have to shrink it. There you go. So shrink it. But if you're going to multiply by a fraction inside, oh, why did I put the square root 2 times? X. So if the fraction here is a vertical shrink, if it's horizontal, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be vertical stretch. Mm-hmm. Yep. So remember, for horizontal, the effects are opposite. Mm-hmm. So make sure you write the blue and the green stuff, because yeah, those are the stuff you need when you do the Schoology work today, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you maybe 1 more minute to copy whatever you need to copy, and then we'll look at some examples. So hopefully they will start making more sense. Yep. Okay, 30 more seconds. Okay, got it? All right. So now we're going to look at some examples. Yeah, just find these in your OneNote. Yeah. Yeah, what you will do in Schoology is it's basically similar to what I'm going to show you now. So make sure you have your blue and your green stuff on your notebook. All right. So we won't graph yet, but we're just going to compare. Yeah, compare the graph of each function, okay, to the graph of the parent function. So what answers are we expecting? Well, I gave you the script on the sides, right? Those are the buzzwords. If you are going to explain in your own words, that's fine. But remember, are we going to do the Schoology together? Yeah, later. Uh-huh. Okay. If you're going to explain in your own words, that's okay. But remember, the way to get points on AP test is to follow the script. Follow the buzzwords. Okay, so let's see, for example, in number 1, g of x is equal to negative square root of x minus 2. So remember, this is the parent function. So how many answers are you expected to give? Well, in how many ways does this differ from the parent function? Can you tell me in the chat pod? In how many ways? 2. Very good. So you have a negative and you have the negative 2 inside. So that means you're expected to give 2 answers. So can you give 1 answer for number 1? You can start in any order. What does this negative tell you? So go ahead and find and match that one. It means there's a negative before the radical sign. So what does that mean? In the chat pod, please. What what what's the meaning of when you're multiplying the square root with a negative? Reflect. Very good. Yeah, so when you're trying to find the answer, ignore the 2 first. So pretty much it's like you have a square root, that's the parent function, and then what do? They multiplied by a negative. So it looks like this, right? Uh-huh. So that first one is reflection. So reflect across x-axis. So why is it important to know that ahead of time? So when you're graphing, yeah, if your parent function originally goes like that and you want to reflect it across the x-axis, yep, so that means it's going to go downward. It's going to go like this at the bottom. Yep. Okay, because you're multiplying all the y values by negative 1. Okay. Now next, you have a negative 2. You have a negative 2. So find something that subtracts a number in the inside of the radical sign, under the radical sign. So is it vertical or is it horizontal? When you subtract something under the radical sign, it's inside. So is it horizontal or vertical? What do you think? By the way, I didn't write the keywords over here. These are horizontal translation. I forgot to write those down, guys. Could you please add them up? It's horizontal. Very good, Ryan. Yep. So if this is negative 2, it's going to be horizontal translation, but you have to go to the opposite direction. So if it's minus, you go to the right. Very good. Oh, that's sloppy writing. Okay. And don't forget this. I forgot to write down the keywords. My bad. So this is horizontal shrink or horizontal stretch. Yep. Could you please write this down because these are vertical. You might get confused with that. Okay, so that's how you're going to find the answer. So I know maybe for some of us, we're like learning this for the first time. Yeah, but we've seen this 3 times at least. We've seen it with absolute values. We've also seen it with parabolas. So if it's only clicking now, that's okay. Yes. If it's only sinking in now, that's okay. Because if you're learning it now and you're getting it now, then that means whatever function I give you, whether it's absolute value or parabola or x squared, it's gonna be the same banana. So yes, I remember when we are in the classroom, some students would would tell me when it's like the last few weeks, miss, this seems so easy. Why couldn't I get it before? You know? Yeah, so maybe for some that's the same case for you. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, don't worry about what you didn't get before. If you're getting it now, if it's sinking in now, good. Okay, let's try another one. Oh, look at this. It's a -6, but it's outside the radical sign. It's outside the radical sign. So what's the buzzword for that? The first thing you have to know is whether it's horizontal or vertical. And how do you know? If it's in, it's horizontal. If it's outside the radical, it's vertical. Okay, so since this is outside, what is it? H or V? You could just type that in the chat. H for horizontal, V for vertical. V, very good. So it's a vertical and then translation, right? Okay, now give me the direction. Up or down? Down, very good, because it's negative. That's perfect. Very good. Yeah, so that's what we mean. If I give you something like absolute value of x minus 6, you're going to give me the same answer. If I give you something like x squared minus 6, you're going to give me the same answer, x squared minus 6. Yep. And when you go to algebra 2, you're just pretty much changing the function to something like this. So if you remember, if you understand your transformations, man, you're going to be, yep, you're going to be very, very good at graphing in the future. Okay. Yeah. Okay, next. Look at this. Ooh. So you treat this as two separate stuff. The first one is the negative, and then the second one is the number. Okay, so if it's outside, is it H or V? If it's outside, H or V? Oh, I need to exercise. My muscles are tight. V. Very good. Okay. So if it's V, I'm going to look on the blue side. Is it a... Okay, so vertical. Is it shrink or stretch? So this is your whole number. This is a fraction. It's a stretch. Very good. Okay, so we took care of the number. What about the negative? What about the negative? So you have a negative outside again. So what do you pair that up with? This one, you have a negative after or outside the radical sign. So you reflect it, right? So reflect x-axis. Very good. So reflect across x-axis. Well, if you're going to answer that in complete sentence, you would say the graph of m of x equals -3 radical x is a vertical stretch and a reflection across the x-axis of the parent function. F of x is equal to radical x. Now, those are the unnecessary, flavory stuff, but yep, we're just going to stick with our buzzwords right now. Okay, because in Schoology, you're just gonna click on them anyway. Yeah. But if you were in the classroom and I have a test, hopefully next year you get to experience me in the classroom as well. I hope to have you in geometry again. Okay, here we go. Number 4. It's inside. It's inside. So is it H or V? Is it H or V? Your 1/4 is inside your radical. It's horizontal. Very good. Very good. Okay, so now you have to choose between the two. Remember, the effect for horizontal is quite the opposite. If it's a fraction, you stretch it. If it's a whole number, you shrink it. So it's opposite. So what am I going to do here? Since it's a fraction, it's a vertical stretch. Okay, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you're going to do in Schoology later on. But before we do that, okay, yeah, before we do that, I'm just going to demo how we can graph 1. Okay? I'm just going to erase these. I will try to keep those writings. Okay, so here we go. Alright, I'm gonna start with number 2, yeah? I'm just gonna demo how we can graph this one, okay? Alright, so g of x is equal to square root of x minus 6. So let's create a table of values. Oh my god, why is it so... So remember what we said earlier, it's a vertical translation down. So this for number 2. So when you make your table, this is x, and this is the square root of x minus 6. I'll just put y for now. Okay, so what were your original beginning points? Do you remember the perfect squares that I gave you earlier? What was the first one? If you don't remember, look at the notes, first set of notes you copied. 0, and then 1, and then maybe one more. 4. Very good. Okay, and then what were the answers originally? So what's the square root of 0? 0, and then square root of 1? 1, and then square root of 4? 2. Perfect. Okay, so those are your original. Those are the parents. Yep. Now we have to start creating the changes. And how do you know how many changes you need? Well, you already wrote it down, right? Oh no, my pen froze. So there you go. Okay. So how do you know how many more columns you need? Well, you just wrote it down. Vertical translation downward. So you only need 1, right? Okay, so how many down? It's a 6 down. So minus 6 down. So how do you know whether you're going to minus 6 from the x or the y? That's a good question. And I think we should spend some time drilling on that, because remember, if you understand it now, then you would understand the others. So how do I know whether I'm going to subtract 6 from the x or from the y? How would I know? It depends on whether it's vertical or horizontal. So if your answer is vertical, then you're going to put it on the y. Yep. So that means you're going to, excuse me, subtract 6 from your y values. But if you said earlier like horizontal, then you're going to do it on the x values. Or if that did not make sense, I'm not going to make it complicated for you. Just plug your x in, like square root of 0 minus 6. You get the answer. That's fine too. But in some cases, if you're just gonna do trial and error plugging in, it may not work. So that's why I'm giving you like an idea on how you will use your answers. Excuse me, how you will use your answers to get your points. Okay. Excuse me. So if you subtract 0 minus 6, what's the answer? What's the answer? 0 minus 6 is negative 6. Very good. Next, 1 take away 6. 1 take away 6. Negative 5. Very good. Now 2 take away 6. 2 take away 6. Negative 4. Alright. Now I'm going to show you something. Stay right there. Just, you remember when we had a graph earlier and I made you copy it? Let me just go back to that so you can see it clearly. Where was it? Oh, this one. This graph right here. It's not going. Okay, so what basically is happening here? This is your parent function. And what we're doing when you say 6 down is you're just moving every point. Remember our points earlier? This is 0, 0. If you have space at the bottom, go ahead and move the points down so you can see the graph. So this one moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And then the next point, which was originally 1, 1, will now go 6 down. So it will be at 1, negative 5. So this is 1, and then I'm assuming this is -5. So if you have more spaces on your graph, on your paper, you can do it nicer. Uh-huh. Yeah, so that's a technique. That's another hack. Yeah, if you know the translation and the original graph is already given, man, don't even think about it. Just go point by point and just count how many down, you know? So this is 4, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I may not be hitting the points accurately, but please make that adjustment in your thing. Okay, so now you have created the shape of the graph, and it's gonna be like that. Okay, and it's going to be, yeah, I mean, imagine your axis extending that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've shown you like a lot of hacks on graphing. Maybe the first time I taught you those, it did not sink in. Mm-hmm. Okay, but yes, if I were to make my book on, graphing, graphing for, like, I don't know, simple graphing, etc., that will be the first hack. You don't have to be a math genius to do that. You get the graph, as long as you understood the translation, 6 down. Then just move every single point, 6 down, and you can come up with a graph. Yep. So the second one would be, yeah. So the second one would be by using the table, which is my favorite because you can graph anything if you know how to create the table. Yep. Okay. So if you just came in, can you, I don't know, can you take a picture of this quickly? Because I pretty much, yeah, finished the lesson already. Uh-huh. And we're gonna go to Schoology now. So I strongly suggest you watch the video later on because, yeah, like I discussed like a lot of good stuff. Uh-huh. So can you take a picture faster, please? So yeah. At least you don't miss them. All right. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to clear these ink. And then let's go to Schoology. So who among you kind of, understands transformation like better after today? Yeah, those are the same transformation like we discussed last semester. Yep, and you will also need them next time. Okay, and see that? If you guys, by the way, if you have any a little bit better, yeah, that's good. Uh-huh. So if you have any missing work that needs same, nice. If you have any missing work that needs to be graded, please let me know because as you can see, if I scroll all the way down to the very beginning, I don't know how many hundreds of assignments that is, right? But if you will write it on the assign-in sheet, and if I see it like this right away, I can easily delete the 0. Yeah. Oh, look at those foldables. I haven't looked at them yet. Okay, so let's do this. Transformation. Oh, it's very short. Yeah, the last chapter is very short and pretty much straightforward, so you'll be fine. I know, that's a lot, but at least you won't have to write it down. You just have to click on it. Yeah, okay. But I know you miss writing, right? If we were on campus, you're gonna be writing all that. Okay, number 1. So let's do some shortcuts again. If you see the change outside, is it vertical or horizontal? I mean outside the radical sign. So if it's outside, it's vertical. Very good. If it's inside, if the number, the sign, or whatever change they made is inside, what kind of transformation is it? If it's inside the radical, horizontal. So knowing those two alone, will limit your choices and gives you a 50% chance of getting the answer. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I'm going to mention a type of transformation. You explain in your own way how it's being shown in the function. Okay. For example, if I say reflection, what are you going to look for? If I say reflection, what are you going to look for? What sign should you see either outside or outside the radical sign? If it's a reflection, how do you know that the function was reflected? What did they multiply? Either outside a negative sign. Very good, very good. So you kind of see what I'm trying to get you to do. So if it's a reflection, you're looking for a negative sign either inside or outside the radical sign before x. What if it's a vertical translation? So what are they doing for vertical translation? Are they adding? Are they subtracting? Or it could be both, or what? So if it's vertical translation, what are they doing? What changes do you see? If I, yeah, so what am I going to look for if I want to see like a vertical translation upward? Are they adding a number or subtracting a number? You don't have to like type a whole sentence in the chat. You have your plus and minus sign right there. Come on, folks. Yeah, I know. It's easier to just do it in school, but if you can explain it like briefly, then you know that you're really understanding it. You get what I mean? Okay. Okay, so if it's yeah, so it's a minus a certain number if it's going down, right? If it's going up, what are they doing? What sign do you see outside the radical symbol? It's going to be a plus sign. Good. Okay. And then yeah, so that's how you kind of make sense of them in your head, right? So look for patterns. Yeah, so see, it's not the math that's important. It's that ability to like find patterns and persevere so that until it makes sense. Now those are life skills. Okay, number one. So what buzzwords are we gonna look for this one? Horizontal or vertical for number one? It's vertical because it's outside. Okay. So if it's vertical and it's an 8, it's a whole number. So stretch or shrink? Stretch. Very good. Okay, then let's look for that. Let's look for that. Vertical stretch. Oh. Okay. There, I see it. You see that? Vertical stretch by a factor of 8. Stretch. Very good. I know. Stretch. All right. I'm just excited for you. Are you getting it a little better than than the previous times we did it? Okay, next. What's number 2? Ooh, look at that. It reminds me of the time. Dang. Like I'm enjoying here and I don't know what time we're ending. Okay, so oh shoot, it's 10. Oh, we have time. 10:40. Okay. All right, 10:40. Okay, number 2. Is that horizontal or vertical? Horizontal! Very good. Okay, so remember, if it's horizontal, it goes the opposite effect, yeah? Okay, so then what is that? Stretch or shrink? Stretch or shrink? Shrink! Very good. So horizontal shrink. Okay, so now we're not gonna look for 4 because remember it's the opposite, So you're gonna get the reciprocal of 4. So don't look for 4 in the choices. You're gonna look for horizontal shrink by a factor of what's the reciprocal of 4? 1 over 4. Very good. Okay, let's find that. Horizontal shrink by 1/4. And I can't find it. Did you see it? Oh, yeah. There you go. Man, I missed that. Okay, horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/4. Okay. All right. Okay, next. Oh, I don't see the problem. Okay, I've been talking too much. Now you do it. Number 3. Write in the chat pod. What are you going to look for? Number 3. Well, that's the same as writing. Uh, you rearrange them, remember? Like square root of negative x plus 4. Same banana. Doesn't matter whichever order they write them in. Anyone? What are we going to look for? Oh, come on. Reflect. Very good. Yep. What else? What else? What else? I'm lifting dumbbells now. Come on. What else? Just kidding. All right. What else? Aside from reflect, there's a 4 up. Very good. Very good. Okay. Is there such a thing? Um, can you just find it? Where, where is it? Oh, it's the very first one. Yeah, reflect in the Y and then 4 up. Okay. And my eyes are okay. Well, I have an excuse. My computer is more than an arm reach from me. Okay. Okay, come on. Do it. Yep. Do it. Do it. 4. And you don't have to wait for me. I know you can finish them all now. So, yeah, that's the last one we're gonna do today. So if you finish, then you finish. Yep. Okay. Alright. Okay. How about you do it first individually, so you get a chance to kind of think about them on your own. And then if there's something that messes you up, then we'll go over it. Yeah. Okay. So I don't slow you down. Okay. Keep going. Just keep going. Answer as fast and as much as you can, and then yeah. Later on, we'll try to answer your questions. Hi, Michaela. If you can sign in, honey, that would be great. Hi, Giselle. You haven't signed in, honey. I'm just gonna mark you present. But if you can sign in, that would be nice. Can you help me with number 7? Okay, let's look at 7. What's 7? Oh, all right. You have a negative, and at the same time, you have a plus 8. Yep. So since the 8 is inside, think of it this way. Try to separate them into two different questions. What would you see, or what would you write if you see something like that, and the original x plus 8. So I think, so find something that has a plus 8 inside the radical and something that has a negative inside the radical sign. Yep. So this was like the number 3, yeah? And in number 3 we chose reflect in the y-axis. Correct? Uh-huh. You said number 7, right? Uh-huh. Okay. So this is like what we put in number 3. There's a negative sign inside the radical sign. And this one is also like number 3 because you have, oh no, that's not like number 3 because it's outside. Yeah, so this one will be reflection, figure out whether it's x or y. And then the plus 8, since it's inside, that has to be a horizontal. Yep, okay, now figure out the direction, whether it's left or right. Mm-hmm. Yep. So sometimes it helps if you like break it down into two different problems. hmm So number 7, that will be a combination of a reflection and a horizontal translation. But I want you to figure out the direction. If it's horizontal, you're going to go to the opposite direction. We're celebrating a lot this month. Any birthday celebrants this month? We started with Cinco de Mayo, and then we have um, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and then what else? And are there any celebrants from this class? May celebrants? What's the zodiac sign for May? Is it Taurus? You believe in zodiac signs? Oh, it's not bad to believe in some or to like use them to guide you. Okay, who's done? I want to see scores. You're done! Alright, I'm happy for you. Okay, let's look. Perfect, perfect. Did you get perfect scores? Okay, some are still working on them. Wow, look at those 10 over 10. 9 out of 10, not bad. You wanna redo the ones you got wrong, honey? I can unsubmit that for you so you don't have to type the whole thing. Yes or no? Look. Yeah, you want me to unsubmit it so you can do the last one? Or you just want to leave it like that? Okay, no worries. While I'm here, I can do that. Any more? Any more? Tell me more. Or you're still working on it? Okay, keep going, keep going. Yep. Okay, I think I can already like clear the ink, right? Because you copied everything already. Clear the ink. Okay, and while the others are working, oh, let me stop this video